The inconsistency in the Central Police Station story, to an ordinary person, it may appear to be inconsistent. But to a very good investigation detective, to a very good intelligence officer, and to a very good journalist, you find that the more the inconsistent, the more you get the truth. There are many questions here. You may have noticed that in many of my interviews and in many of my tapes, I don't ask questions, I answer questions. We have some videos where you find somebody tells you, find out what happened ABCD, but at the end of the time, you find that the recorder has not said anything. But I usually go straight to the point and say it. But today, I'll try to show some questions. You may think that I'm asking you the questions, but I'm not asking you the question. It is in asking those questions that I'm giving you an answer. And that is why I said the inconsistencies in Central Police Station story brings out a very clear picture of what is happening. It is said that I also believe in that. It is said that you find a lot of people. For every one truth, there are several lies. For every one truth, there is so many lies. You could be one of the best detectives. You could be one of the best detectives. You could be one of the best reporters. You could be one of the best criminologists. But when you are on the other side of the law, however good, however many cases you have handled, however many reports you have handled, if you are the one who is on the wrong, at least several important points you'll forget. Now you'll find that in Kenya and other developing countries, you may find that some people may claim that somebody has done uh, a good job, a complete crime, where he has not left his fingerprints and footprints and whatever. No, there is nothing like a perfect crime. What happens is that the investigating person either is untrained or less trained or less interested or compromised. Even before we had these forensic things and whatever, we could still investigate and find the culprit. But because of the reasons that I've just mentioned, because of reasons such as the investigating officer is not properly trained. You see, for you to handle sensitive matters such as homicide and so on, you should have started off several years back with things like petty crime. You started off with petty crime and then you graduated to crime branch, then you went to DCI. So there could be an element of no training or little training. There could also be lack of interest, lack of enthusiasm. There could also be, apart from lack of enthusiasm, there is also lack of interest. There is the investigating officer can be compromised, or they are not interested in the case, or a cover up, or a complete cover up. There are some people who want to cover up the story. For example, the case in Central Police Station. And those cover up, it is because of the national outcry. I can tell you, it is because of the national outcry that these cover up were discovered. Because all the things have been ticked. One, there is no interest in the police in finding the killer. They are not. They were not interested. They were not interested in finding the killer. They knew that if the person died in the police cells, of course he died in the police cells. They knew that there would be an inquest, so they wanted him to be sick and die in the hospital. And I can tell you that it is because that is why we like people making an outcry. Even if you think a case is minor, make an outcry, because if you don't make an outcry, people will die, and people have died. These are the inconsistencies. The OCS goes off on an off. Suddenly he goes for an off and hands over his pocket phone to his deputy, who also has a pocket phone. I don't see the reason why he had. Okay, there are things, like I don't know about nowadays, but during our time, we used to have a safe in the OCS place where money and whatever would be kept. So yes, yeah, those things you could have given to the deputy, but a pocket phone, over giving a deputy. Why? If you are within your, if the in the course of your off, you are within the town, you still use the pocket phone. You still use the pocket phone even if you are on off. Why? Because things can get hot and you postponed your off. I used to, 90% of my work happened in hardship areas, and those days hardship areas had no pocket phone. But that does not mean that I don't interact with police officers. There are occasions when we have social places and whatever, and you find, like, let us say we are having a Luhya welfare association, and the police officer is on off. You'll even find he still has the pocket phone, because anytime he can require to go urgently. Remember, a police officer who is on off, complete off, is that police officer who is out of his town. But if you're within your town, you can be recalled and attend to that. So he's handing over the. Why should he hand? The deputy has his, and you see, the the cosigns are different. The cosigns are different because giving me your pocket phone does not mean that I'll just start calling myself OCS and whatever. No, even in the time, the only time that the deputy can call himself the OCS or anybody in charge is during the time when the OCS is on leave, on training, or anything outside town. Outside town. Or if it is within the town, the OCS is maybe sick. We have had occasions even here where you find, like I said, the Luhya meetings and whatever, and the OCS, if he's a Luhya, he attends those meetings, but you'll still find he has the set. Shortly, somebody can call him on phone and tell him, can you switch on your pocket phone to see what is being talked? So the matter of him giving his deputy a phone, a pocket phone, means that he knew what was going to happen. He knew things would not be good, and that is why he was trying to. I'm very sure he even wrote in the OB to, you see, police in Kurukana, to look for an opportunity. You suspect something is going to happen, and you look for evidence so that you are nowhere near him. Then one of the things we were taught in the 80s is that many people think that alibis assist them. Let me tell you, alibis don't assist. Uh, alibis don't assist. Uh, at times, they even turn against you. There is a case I can't recall. I'll write in the comment section. We used to have a detective on KTN. He was a very good detective from Germany. One time I was watching his movie on TV, whereby somebody was telling him something, and he sensed that somebody was cooking up an alibi, and then he rushed to the scene of. He rushed to arrest that person, and later on it became he had planned a crime, and he wanted to show that those were the days of landline. So he wanted to show that he was in his house, because you find somebody calling you and talking something, you don't even find the detective did not find the reason why this fellow was keeping him on phone for a long time. Let us go back to my time. Let us not even talk about today's CCTVs and whatever. But during my time, I handled several cases where a crime has been happening, and you find that the suspect tells you that I was not there. In fact, I was in a certain bar. Here I was in a certain restaurant. I took so many beers. I ate this and whatever. And when you interview the people who, if you interview the people who are with him, you'll find that he kept on referring to issues of the time. You find that you are seated with somebody, and twice or thrice he says, "Is this Sunday?" Yes, Sunday the 15th. Whatever. He's talking that 3 or 4 times. He's trying to remind you. And what time is it? The time is whatever, whatever. He's trying to prove in future that uh, at that particular time and date, he was with you. Just quickly to give you another story of a lady who was cooking up an alibi. This lady, her husband was in a seminar in Arusha, and they had bought a vehicle and they were delaying in its payment, and they were expecting the people to come and pick the car. So one time she used not to report on duty, report off duty early. She used to be among the last people, but on that particular day, she reported off somewhere 1 hour before. 1 hour before, that is when and then she went to the gate and she knew that there was a CCTV. So she asked the guards there, na leo nimetoka mapema. The guards say, hata ndio tunashanga. Said, what time is it? The guards looked at their watch and said, she insisted that they write in the book at the gate that she had left at 4 p.m. instead of 5 p.m. And she even went ahead and got out of the vehicle and was seen by the CCTV, because if you're in the vehicle, it's a bit hard to be seen the CCTV. And then she left, uh, making sure that the guards there had noted that that on that particular day she left early. She also made sure it was written in the book there, and she made sure that she got out of the vehicle for the CCTV to see her. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because if you see a case where somebody is really particular on issues of alibi, he or she goes to that extra extent of alibi, remember that person is trying to place himself or herself out of the place. So this fellow, uh, it's not a must that he had to give out the pocket phone. He could even take the pocket phone and take it to the house and switch it off. But the act of taking a pocket phone, giving it to the deputy, and making the deputy maybe write it in the OB speaks volumes. It speaks volume, because what I believe is he knew he knew that the DCI people had gone to Nyanza, and they were to come up with somebody, and they wanted, when they bring that person, he should be as far away as possible. So he took all efforts to do what? He took all the efforts to make sure that he overdid himself. That is what I was trying to say. These people who look for alibi, sometimes they overdo it themselves. So when these people went to Nyanza, he knew they were going to collect that person, and he knew that it will not be good, and he wanted, when things go bad, he wanted to be as far away as possible. That is why when the DCI came with the people from Nyanza, he had to call him. Had to call him that I have a prisoner, and he told him, no, I am not on duty. I have handed over to my deputy. You can even see he was very careful to go to a place where he knew there were CCTVs. There were CCTVs. If you want an off, one of the toughest jobs in the police force, just like Nani said, Kipchumba, Murkomen, the person recognized by law is the OCS. That is I've even said so in my earlier recordings, where I said, even when the OCPD or even the Inspector General wants a prisoner out of cells, it is usually the OCS has instructed, the cell belongs to the OCS. So this fellow knew that, being the landlord or the agent wa nyumba, being the agent of the cell, he wanted to hand over that thing to the person. So when he was called on phone, he told the CID fellow, no, my deputy is acting, so go and hand it over to him, because basically he's now the OCS. Furthermore, the cell sentry, they are mentioning somebody. I think they're even mentioning the name of a Muslim fellow. They are saying that he was the cell sentry. But now I'm wondering, if that is, what is the work of a cell sentry? I was taught in 1982, that the work of the cell sentry is the one who keeps the key to the cells. Now, if there was another cell sentry and Mukhwana had the keys, as an alumni of Kiganjo, I get a bit confused there. And then why is this other cell sentry who was on duty at that time? Because even if Mukhwana had the keys, which is impossible, but there are duties of somebody. There is somebody called report office, and then there is the cell sentry. Cell sentry, it means you take care of the cells. You take care of the cells and the cells register. Now, how can it be a Muslim name is being mentioned, and then Mukhwana is supposed to be having the keys? It's a bit confusing. But as I said, when all these are being confused, even right now, as they are saying that they are investigating cases and whatever, the intention is very clear. If you remember, there was a case in Kondele where a boy, it was during a election demonstration. There is a boy who was mocking the police by playing and acting like a monkey. He was playing and acting like a monkey, and there is a very clear picture of a police officer shooting him. But then it later came out that the gun that shot him, the serial numbers do not match with the serial number of the gun that was issued. Why? Because the sergeant who was issuing out the firearms, instead of writing 19, he wrote 91. So it was assumed that it is a different gun. What I'm trying to say is, all these confusions you're seeing here, they are intended that when the inquest comes up and such things, it is most likely to find they are not going to find anybody. That is why I started by saying some of these things you'll discover that they are confusing. They are not confusing, they are just placed there so that even when the worst becomes the worst and the case goes for an inquest, murder inquest, it will be found that yes, he was murdered within the police authority, but it will be hard to pinpoint who killed him. Now the question is, why did the deputy OCS, who was acting as OCS and took Albert to Mbagathi, uh, he's in the dark. Nobody's talking about him. He's in the dark. Somebody even said in one of my tapes, somebody asked me, how sure are you that he left the police station still breathing na wakamjongea njiani? Well, we don't know, but you see, as the person, he was the acting OCS, because the OCS had conveniently placed him out of sight so that in case of any case, the OCS was an alibi hunting. Now, why is this deputy OCS in the dark? Why has he not written the statement? And he's a person who is supposed to be very of much interest. He's somebody who's supposed to be of much interest because he is the one who took him to the to Mbagathi. And also, there was the deputy OCS who was acting OCS at that time is also a person of interest, because if you see the way the vehicle arrived at Mbagathi, it shows that there was a lot of negligence. There was a fear of taking there. Investigators should get this person and ask him, why didn't you reach there and maybe dash, run? Why didn't you? Why? Who is this person you are all the time calling? These people are very funny. They find the DCI. They find you with this thing that they call cyberbullying. Your phone is taken forever. That they are going to investigate. Why don't we get this phone from the acting OCS to know whom he was calling and what is it that they were talking? What is it was they talking? You'll find that after getting out of the vehicle, I've already covered that in another video. But after getting out of the vehicle, he's him and the duty NCO, they are supposed to have said, why is this, what is this thing that they were talking, and if they were ama we enda useme kwanza, ama ukisema hivi itakuwa nini nini. And then as they were going to report, they have not even reached to see the medical people. He did not call, he receives a phone call and walks away to do that. That is the person who has a lot of answers. The OCS has answers. Let us avoid this situation of a thief being caught and they say, how many thieves are out there? If you played a part, even if it is a small part, you are also a criminal. So all of them have got to be behind bars and say. Then there is a question. There are two versions. There is a version that he presented himself to Mazingira, and then IPOA is presented him. Say they arrested him in Eldoret when he switched off. We have many ways of ascertaining that, like the phones, the GPS of the phone and such things. But then we have to ask ourselves, why are these two departments of the government, which coincidentally are supposed to take care of keeping of law, why are they contradicting themselves in a very simple way, whereby we are being told that he presented himself to the DCI at Mazingira House, and the DCI handed him over to IPOA, while on the same time IPOA is claiming that it arrested him in Eldoret. We have coordinates of the telephone. Who is this IPOA person who arrested him in Eldoret? Did he book him in any of the Eldoret police station? Or is it that they are trying to play around with the mind so that it shows that the deputy OCS is guilty and he was trying to run away? Now, the funny thing is, there is cellmates who have been arrested and taken to court. You know, some of these things are my viewer. I've even had some of my videos being brought down because I'm talking sensitive things. But let me ask you a question. The police, up to the Inspector General said that Albert hit himself. First of all, Albert was alone in the cells. Alone. Now suddenly he had other cellmates. He was not now alone. We are told he was alone. He hit himself on the wall severally until he died. Then suddenly, no. He had other cellmates who beat him. And then I would also want to know, maybe my viewers also want to know. That is why I say in most of my videos, I answer questions, I don't ask questions. But this one, I want to ask myself, why was it in the first place alone and he hit himself on the head several times? No. He did not hit himself. He actually was not even alone in the cell. There are other cellmates who came from another cell, or they were with him in the same cell that he's supposed to have been alone. Now, no. He was not alone now. He was with others who hit him. I want to ask myself, uh, him being booked, he rang his wife 4 hours before he died, or even less than 4 hours. Now, who can tell me that you find yourself in the cell with somebody, you find yourself with somebody in a situation, and within 3 hours, because there is no evidence that they have ever met or anything. First of all, Albert is a very brand new person in Nairobi. I'm very sure you place him in the city center, he'll get lost, because he is from Oyugis, but grew up in Coast Province. So you go to, and the way the father talks, you cannot know that they are from Oyugi. Very good in Swahili. Now, somebody who is very strange in Nairobi, being placed in the same cells with some people in Nairobi, and then these people reach out and kill him. Within 3 hours of knowing each other, and they kill. Gaifafa, omba Mungu, pray to God you should not end up in the cells, because it seems that these things are that. These big questions bring a lot of questions to what is happening there. But then it is just obvious. And then there is also the question of CCTV. Somebody came and switched off the CCTV before that time. As of this time, I hear maybe that let me not mention the person who paid the technician 3,000. But then the question is, why do that? Why do that? Why do the removal of that? It is because you are covering and you are looking for a way that the case goes on. I would want also to say that Kenya's system should be faster. We should have a faster way of dispensing justice. Imagine, when did Baby Pendo die? Baby Pendo was killed a long time ago, and up to now, we only have an ongoing case that it has taken long. It is also, letting somebody rest in peace means a lot. It means that if the case ends, then the person ends. The dead person rests in peace. The other reason of resting in peace, you see, however hard these things are, uh, Albert's father has got to accept and move on. And he has to accept and move on when such cases end soon. Now, if this case ends up, imagine for the next 5 years, if we have to follow the system of Baby Pendo, for the next 5 years, Albert Omondi Ojwang's father will be required to regularly be boarding a public service vehicle coming to Nairobi all the time. The man and the young girl, the bride, in African tradition, she was not a wife yet, she's a bride. A bride, the bride has got to also move on. She has to go to training. She has to bring up her child. She has to bring the late man's child up. How unfair can we be to have that case take ages? You see, the best way to do is dispense the justice. You cannot dispense it in minutes, but dispense as quick as possible so that he rests in peace.